Fahim Yunus Qureshi Sahib will kindly talk to us about domestic harmony.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقلنا يا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة وكلا منها رغدا حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين. Thousands of years ago, in a land unknown to us, Allah the Almighty said to Adam, "O Adam, dwell you and your wife in the garden and eat therefrom plentifully wherever you will, but approach not this tree, lest you will be wrongdoers." But Satan caused Hazrat Adam ﷺ to slip, and thereby we all know the history. We lost the Jannah, the paradise. Generations went by and the world moved on from a time when the daughter was being buried alive and man was being enslaved to what we now call Islam, our enlightenment. And in the process, somewhere, each one of us, each man became an Adam. Each woman became an Eve. In secular arenas, such discussions about domestic harmony are done in the context of men and women. I would submit that the next few minutes that I'll be talking to you, in my mind, I'm talking to thousands of Adams and thousands of Eves, because that is how Holy Quran defines us. What we fail to recognize that during thousands of years, Adam and Eve have evolved, and so has the elusive tree that was discussed in Holy Quran as a symbol. As children, I'll share with you, I always used to wonder. I would say, wouldn't it be nice that Hazrat Adam ﷺ had never gone close to the tree? We would never be kicked out of the paradise. We still all be living in the Jannah, in the paradise. And I would not have to go through the toil, labor, suffering, and pain that we all go through in this life. When I started my research on this topic of domestic harmony, I realized pretty quickly that there is nothing that I can offer you today in terms of knowledge. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Al-Khamis Ayyadallah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz has delivered over a dozen sermons on this topic. At least 4 addresses have been given directly to United States Jamaat. When I looked at the previous Jalsa Salanas, I was astounded that every year for the past 5 years, in some form or shape, a speech has been delivered on this topic. I see Nasir Malik Sahib sitting there, khairukum li ahlihi. Malik Sahib, I can promise, you covered everything. There is nothing that I could find. And therefore my conclusion was that there is no knowledge gap. It is not a question of education, or at least not primarily a question of education. But then what it is? I spoke to a lot of Jamaat members as Sadr Majlis Khudamul Ahmadiyya. I spoke to a lot of my brothers. I can tell you dozens and dozens. And through my family, I spoke to a lot of couples to try to understand what's going on the other end. So what I will be discussing in the next few minutes with you is two basic questions. How did we get into this predicament? How did we get here? How is this topic even relevant to the Jamaat of Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam? Are we struggling with domestic harmony? Maybe we are. But what happened? And then, where do we go from here? See, it is very important for us to understand that whatever I discuss in the next few minutes may not apply to each and every one of you, particularly the blessed one among us who are living in that paradise. But it is not important whether it is affecting 5% or 10% or 50% of the community, because we are the flag bearers of Islam today as Ahmadiyya. We rightly so claim that we are the peacemakers of the world. And imagine the contradiction that if we are unable to make peace at home, can you believe that contradiction? So the second part will be, where do we go from here? And in that part, I want all of you to be my partners, because you can either be a part of the problem or you can be a part of the solution. Last point before we move on, in such discussions, in honest discussions, people get upset. Because Satan has not given up his job, he's still around with a lot of elusive trees. So he will tempt you, he will lower you, he will detract you. But my purpose here is not to make anyone sad or mad. My purpose really is to understand what the issues are, and if that requires us to swallow a bitter pill for the sake of peace at our home, I think we will. So how did we get into this predicament? The discussion has to be framed in a hadith of Jalsa Salana, that nothing pleases Satan more than a quarreling husband and wife. Nothing pleases Satan more. So how did it start? Let's pick an arbitrary point. A verse was just recited, Al-Rijalu Qawwamuna 'ala an-Nisa. Men have been appointed as guardians over women. Adam understood the verse. But Satan came to Adam and said, no, this does not mean that you are the responsible guardian. This means you can be a tyrant. You can do anything you like. This is not a burden, this is power. This is not responsibility, this is privilege, this is your honor. You come home, you don't have to consider anything else. You can even throw your socks wherever you like. You don't have to worry about anything. You can talk to people in any way, and you can abuse them. I told you up front, my purpose is not to make you mad, but this has to be an honest discussion, my brothers, who I consider the Adams. Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa one day was walking in the street right after rain, and Imam Sahib saw a young boy jumping on these little rocks in the muddy streets, and Imam Sahib said, watch out, you will trip, you will fall down. The boy turned around and said, Imam Sahib, don't worry about me, I'm a young boy. But you are our Imam, you watch out. If you fell down, all of us will fall down who are following you. That is what your responsibility is at home. When we abused that privilege, Satan went to Eve. And Satan said, you don't have to take this whole thing. You can talk back. Why do you have to be obedient to him? Why do you have to listen to him? This is how I was talking about that elusive tree. And as children, I hope that Hazrat Adam would never have gone near it. This is how we all have committed the same thing. So Eve, under the same influence, felt that yes, I can get even. Forgetting that Holy Quran says, فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ. A virtuous woman, they're obedient, they guard the secrets of their husbands. That's the definition, words of Holy Quran. But Satan said, you don't have to worry about that. Then Satan comes back to Adam and says, why don't you can verbally abuse her. Under the word Qawwamun, you can inflict any hardship, you can inflict any pain, whether it's emotional, physical, or verbal, because you are the Qawwam. Forgetting, making Adam forget, Jalsa said, a Muslim is someone from whose tongue and hands other Muslims are safe.